So as much as I have complained about the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack and all of the problems that have come along with it, we do have to be realistic about one thing. As far as the game library is concerned, the titles are concerned, we've gotten some heavy hitters. Like we've gotten The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Paper Mario, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64. Like there have definitely been some bangers added to the service. Now, the quality of those experiences has been a bit varying, but it seems like Nintendo is indeed taking this a little bit more seriously. We of course saw the fact that they fixed the whole fog issue and the water issue in Ocarina of Time, so it kind of gave me hope for this. And when they announced that the next title was going to be F-Zerp X, I honestly had my eyes like just locked in on this, because this is a game that a lot of things can go wrong with it. A lot of things can go wrong with it. Yes, it's just a racing game, but it's a racing game kind of a different pedigree, especially when you compare it to what we've seen on the N64 thus far. And you're reading the title of this video and you're like, you clickbaiting bastard, how could you do this? You're such a liar. And no, I'm not a liar, because I'm going to explain to you, simply put, why F-Zerp X is the best N64 online game that we've gotten so far on the Nintendo Switch expansion pack. Now, if you're not familiar with F-Zero and the franchise, basically it's racing. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the original F-Zero game on the Super Nintendo. I definitely enjoyed the N64 and the GameCube one a lot more. The GameCube one, for the single player stuff, introduced a story, but there's no story in this game. It's strictly racing. As far as the racing is broken up, it's very similar to Mario Kart in the fact that you don't have the 50cc, the 100cc, and the 150cc. You have novice, standard, and expert when you're choosing your cup. The things are broken up into different cups, much like in Mario Kart, except there are 6 courses versus 4 courses, and then you go, you race, you try to get the highest score, you try to beat everyone on the track, and of course, you try to win the cup so that you can unlock other things and unlock other cars. Upon the surface level, it seems just like a fast as hell racing game. Like, the sense of speed in this game is definitely superior to a lot of other experiences that were available on the marketplace. It honestly still holds up today as far as, you know, a racing experience is concerned, and just the sheer speed of it. Now, the courses themselves have a lot of cool variety in them. Don't think of them as like a racing course. Think of them almost as like a roller coaster, and like a roller coaster made by someone who is half blind, because there's huge dips and drops and dumps, and you could literally fall off the map on tons of these races, and it's probably going to happen because of the sheer speed that you're going at. Of course, with a game like Mario Kart 64, you have 7 other people on the course. No. With this, you have 29 other people. There are 30 racing vehicles on the course at all time, and yet the game stays extremely smooth when you're playing it, and that's a really impressive thing. Now, besides the main races, you also have something called a death race. Now, the death race is pretty cool because of the fact that it's you against 29 other racers, but you don't win by just beating them in the race. You actually have to knock them off the course, and that's where things can get very tricky. You can drift using the L and R triggers to sort of bump into people, and it also helps you when you're taking corners and stuff. It's something that, you know, it does require a bit of mastery with for the higher difficulty levels, but it does feel very smooth. And once you kind of learn where to take the turns and where to turn into the other enemies to take them out, it becomes very second nature. The course itself is pretty cool. It's just a long looping course with a lot of straightaways, so you can do a lot of damage on that. You also have other stuff like, of course, a practice mode if you want to race around the tracks yourself and see what they're all about and try to figure them out on your own. The single player experience is honestly very, very solid in the game. There's a lot of things to do, there's a lot of things to unlock, and it keeps you wanting to come back for more. But the multiplayer experience, that's what I had my eye on when it came to this game, because like I said, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. When we're talking about the Nintendo Switch Online, you know, it's been very hit or miss with some of these games. Games like Star Fox 64 played great online for me. Games like Mario Tennis, you know, I had some issues with those. There was some input lag and latency. And in a racing game that's built around speed, a racing game where, you know, it's 60 frames per second, the littlest thing is going to throw you off. So last night I rounded up Spawn Wave and Nate the Hate, and I was like, yo, let's play some races. Let's see what it's about. Let's see if this online is any good. Because if the online sucks in this, then the game, it kind of loses some of its importance to me. It kind of loses some of the fun for me. And I was surprised. I was honestly very, very surprised. I did some races with just Spawn Wave. I did some races with both Nate and Spawn Wave, and the experience was top notch. I literally cannot find anything. There was the first race that Spawnwave and I did, it was a little bit wonky at times. There was like 1 or 2 instances where the frame rate dropped, and it was more based on the online connection part. So I was definitely very concerned, but as we kept playing, nothing was happening. And Spawnwave actually is in the process of moving, so he doesn't have his normal internet set up, and so I'm going to assume that's why. Plus the fact that he just kind of sucks at the game. You could see him falling off the course all the time, which led to me like winning a lot. But Nate and I were like neck and neck for these races. You know, we were right down to the finish line. There was literally races where I would win by tenths of a second, he would win by tenths of a second. And just playing it, it was super smooth. It was super smooth. That 60 frames per second was rock solid throughout the experience. Yeah, you have a smaller viewing window because of the fact that it's a split screen being taken from the N64 and put onto the Nintendo Switch, but this was by far the best and most consistent online experience I've had with the N64 games online thus far. Better than Mario Kart, better than Star Fox, because of the fact that Star Fox was kind of a slower paced game. And another thing we have to look at with this, and where this game really shines, is in the technical aspects. Because like I said, this is a 60 frames per second racing game. It's high octane, it's very fast. But I feel like this is the most visually impressive game that we've seen on the N64 online thus far, because Nintendo did something. You know, we've seen like high resolution textures on some things. People have said, well, is it a filter? Have they, you know, redone some of the textures? I don't know. I'm not a big technical guy, but when I look at this game, I'm like, holy shit, this looks really good for an N64 game, like almost too good. The cars themselves, the vehicles themselves, I should say, look phenomenal. Like there's shadows going off of them. The textures themselves look stupid good. And it's like, wait a minute now. This, you know, it's F-Zerp X from the N64, but it's way more polished in terms of visuals. It's way better. Yes, you still have some low resolution textures, but even some of like the courses themselves have a bit more higher resolution stuff going on. And like I said, the vehicles themselves just look absolutely fantastic. I can tell some extra work has been put into this. I do not feel like this is simply just a filter that was added onto this. It feels like something more was a bit done, especially looking at the shadows, because the shadows and sort of the way that the track, you know, gleams off of the bottom of your vehicle definitely feels like something different. The audio in the game is exceptional for a kart-based game from that era. You know, it sounds like CD quality music. It's really good, you know, high octane, kind of fast paced, a mix of techno and sort of metal that really sort of sticks out. But this game is special. This game is the best N64 game for the N64 Online expansion pack because of the fact that everything works, and it works better than you think it would. It works really good when it comes to the online stuff. The visuals themselves have been improved, and it's like, okay, Nintendo, I see what you're doing here. Maybe you rushed out some of the earlier N64 titles. They're all still great games. They're all still fun games, but I feel like the amount of work that went into this game as far as bringing it to the service, something more went into this. A lot of N64 games are sub 30 frames per second. Even Ocarina of Time gets to sub 30 frames per second at times. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's just a product of the times. A lot of games did not hit 60 frames per second. We have games on the Nintendo Switch now that don't hit 60 frames per second. But to see this game whizzing along at 60 frames per second, to see this game whizzing along with high quality online and being able to play with your friends and race them and knock them off the course and have all these high, just craziness moments, this is the best N64 game that's come to the Nintendo Switch Online in terms of the complete package. You could say that Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64 are better games in terms of quality, and I wouldn't argue with that. It's about the service though. It's about what the game being added to the service adds to the service itself. And in that regard, this is the best experience that I have had by far. I played this thing on my OLED, dude, and I was like, what? This looks stupid good. Like, I'm blown away by this game. I know a lot of people probably don't care about F-Zero because Nintendo treats it like a bastard franchise. They've completely abandoned it. They act like, you know, it doesn't exist or whatever. But this is a must play. This is a must play, especially if you got some friends that you can play online with, because the experience is just stupid good. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's so smooth. And that's something that we haven't really seen all that much from the expansion pack service thus far. So kudos, Nintendo. This is a very impressive game. This is a very impressive game to see it running so well without issues comparative to what we've seen from some other releases. And the visuals, man, you did something with them because they look pretty damn good. Live fast, eat ass. That's the model of F-Zerp X, and that's the model of our GT85. So if this is the first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this game. Have you checked it out yet? Did you realize it came out? Because, like I said, I was playing Gran Turismo 7, and then Nate was like, yo, it's out. And I was like, what? No, it's not the 11th yet, but lo and behold, the game released. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share on the video on the road to 500,000 subscribers. Live fast, eat ass, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.